All right, so guys, last week I mentioned traders, boy oh boy, do we have a packed week. And that definitely turned out to be true. Two of our currencies had the biggest moves they've had all year. I want to show you guys these charts. Let's roll the intro. Yo traders, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the Top Trader channel. I'm extremely excited for you guys to be here today and go over these technicals with me because we have some pretty good looking setups that actually we're setting up last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we actually ended up being able to capitalize on some of these moves as well. All right, so if you guys are new to the channel, you need to make sure that you're subscribed so you can be notified when all the different content releases come out. And of course, if you like the video for your boy, I appreciate it. All right, so last week I mentioned that this week is going to be an insane one. We had NFP coming out, we had CPI for Australia, we had so much data that hit, and we're fundamental analysts here on this channel, so we look into all this stuff, right? And there were two massive announcements that came out, one for the Australian dollar, all right, and one for the pound, okay? And so before I touch on that, I do want to talk about some of the positions that we talked about, all right? And so one of the trades that we're looking to play was a Euro CAD and a Euro JPY position. Now inside of our community, we actually ended up talking about the Euro JPY position and hoping to see an up move. This is what we mentioned on the channel last week. Check this out. Situation that I'm currently monitoring. I would have to see markets consolidate a little bit more in this price area before I start looking at some intraday pushes back up into structure. You guys know I'm a contrarian, all right? I love taking moves and pulling them back up into consolidation, especially when I have a decent structure. So the Japanese yen, we think, is continuously going to have a bad week, bad month, and I think they're going to close lower than where they are right now in 2018, right? And so for the euro's been slammed, all right? It's been slammed pretty hard, okay? And so we do think that most of the negative data that was priced in for the euro during that time, at least last week, most of the negative data that was priced in for the euro, it's priced in, all right? So there should be a lot of different market participation on the buy side, and so we did get an up move, all right? So you guys can see a quick screenshot here of the Euro JPY. We also were looking at the CAD JPY, and the CAD JPY did have an accelerated move up as well, but right now it's still sitting around break even, not too much of a move, all right? And that's mostly because the Canadian dollar has been getting weak and the JPY has been getting weak, so boom, we have consolidation. But outside of that, there are a few more things that we're going to be looking at, so you guys need to get in that community. Just click the link in the bio and you guys can hop right in, all right? And so again, massive things came out. Australia, ridiculous information regarding trade, okay? Out of nowhere, Trump mentioned via a tweet here, you guys can see the tweet, that he had a great call with the president of China and that they're gonna have some type of negotiation with the G20 summit. Take a look at the Australian dollar literally minutes after that announcement, right? You see a 100 pip, almost a 200 pip move on some of the other currencies relative to the Australian dollar based off of that assessment, okay? And so why would the Australian dollar move when Trump is talking about China? Well, Australia's biggest trade partner is China, right? And so Australia exports a lot of its goods into China, okay? And so anytime China's economy starts to slow down or starts to get disrupted or anything like that, you will see a rippling effect across really the global economy, but most definitely Australia and New Zealand. Even so, Australia, of course, popped to the upside, and that's because both of those two economies, they share a lot of the same trading partners just based off of location, all right? So that's so interesting. How much more, though, of these markets can go to the upside? Because again, this market has been pounded. Look at the Australian dollar on a yearly chart. All right, this thing has had a horrible 2018. It's one of the worst performing currencies in the entire G10 over the past, again, 2018. So technically, yes, there should be a little bit of upside for this move. If, of course, the whole China and Trump thing resolves, then we should definitely see another 1%, 2%, or 3% run in the next quarter at least. Okay, definitely before the year's out, I do think we will be higher on that Australian dollar than where we are right now. It's all about getting that entry though, okay? So that's something we're gonna be discussing. We have a webinar tomorrow in the community. If you guys aren't in, you guys can hop in, but that's something we're gonna be discussing internally and even here on the channel about how we can potentially size in to this Australian dollar. Now, outside of that, the pound here, you guys can see a quick screenshot of the pound versus the dollar. You guys see, again, another massive push to the upside. Of course, I had to deal with Brexit negotiations apparently going better. It's so amazing what happens with this currency, the United Kingdom, the pound, the currency. It's ridiculous. Anytime anything happens in regards to Brexit, you'll see a sheer straight up move to the buy side. Anything negative happens, boom, sell off to the downside. And it's so interesting how the jawboning and the political noise is still affecting this currency so massively, right? So here's the pound on maybe a 2 3-year outlook since 2016 when Brexit happened, you guys can notice that Brexit is still severely priced in. All right. So if again anything positive happens in regards to the United Kingdom leaving the European Union, then of course we should see a resurgence of capital back into that currency. Now these are definitely long-term plays, but the corrections and the slight up moves that you will see come into these markets should be there for you to have a favorable outcome in terms of buying these moves to the upside. All right. So again, these are long-term. They're not to be day traded or anything like that, but you should start to see a slow corrective move based off of what we've seen with these currencies over the past few years or so. All right. So here, look, let's take a look. Head over into the charts. I'd like to take a little bit more of an in-depth view of what's happening in markets. All right. If you guys, again, are new, thank you so much for subscribing. I'm so excited to have you. We've had so many people come in terms of subscribers in the past week or so. Literally, we've been averaging like 300 folks a day. I think this is the fastest growing channel, FX channel on YouTube right now. All right. So again, you guys join the club. If you guys aren't here yet, let's take a look at the charts and see what we got.
All right, traders, let's take a look here at these markets. Yeah, I'll just go take a look real quick at this Euro USD. You guys can see that Euro USD did hold, the level that we were anticipating it to hold last week, which is this $1.13 low. If I pull back a bit, you guys can see that that really is the low of 2018. All right, so if we break past that level, definitely the dollar has then officially reached its all-time highest point. But as you guys can see, we did get a little bit of a rejection and anticipating really a push back up into structure there on this Euro USD. Here, you guys can take a quick peek at the overall maybe 2-3 year out for this dollar. You guys can see where we came from. 2017, massive run up into the $1.25s. That mostly dealt with European strength. We also had a massive amount of a dollar weakness. So that's why you see such a huge point run. I mean, we were sitting at the dollar, the 103s, and all the way up into the 125s. It's almost a 2,000 pip run in just 1 year. So it was hard for markets to sustain that momentum, right? So you guys can see that the dollar did have a pretty dramatic pullback, and we have already retraced 50% of that entire leg. All right, so believe it or not, 2018, I don't even remember this. I mean, goodness, from $1.25 all the way to where we are, $1.14. Now, we did take a pretty massive break right here at the $1.22s. That's really the last place I remember seeing this dollar here. So right now, sitting at the $1.14s, let's see what happens. Again, we do think that there is going to be a little bit more euro strength coming into the picture. Now, the dollar is having a massive year so far. We had some NFP numbers come out. NFP did quite well. Also, we had some jobs added. When it comes to GDP 3.5% expected. There was expected was 3.2%. So overall, man, it's interesting. You might see consolidation on this thing more than you'll see a sheer directional move, but I do think we will consolidate and push more towards this upside and continue to consolidate within this range. All right, so that's what I'm anticipating, and that might give us a pretty decent sized opportunity there. Now, I want to show you guys what we're looking at here for the CAD JPY and that Euro JPY. Here we are, CAD JPY markets, still somewhere around the entry. We'll see what happens in this regard, see if markets can push back up into structures. We'll love to roll stops on this thing, all right? So we'll see if we can make it happen. Euro JPY is actually moving quite well. We're even getting a point run as of today, all right, right now. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Euro JPY. Again, mostly that's Euro strength that we're seeing, and a little bit of JPY weakness as well. But remember, we didn't really see too much of a CAD move, so that really does show me that the JPY isn't moving as much, all right, as much. So outside of that, right, where can we play, this Australian dollar, right? So that's something that a lot of folks, at least in our community, are looking forward to seeing some type of opportunity. I'm heading over here to the Aussie crosses. All right, this tab shows me all the Australian currencies. All right, so I got the Aussie CAD, Aussie JPY, Aussie NZD, pound Aussie, Euro Aussie, and then the Aussie US dollar. Maybe we're missing one or two here, maybe like the Aussie CHF, right? So anyway, you guys can see that the Aussie dollar, we had this massive explosion to the upside after the Trump tweet, okay? A little bit more of an up move is totally possible. I mean, if you look at this thing from a yearly perspective, you look at that 2018, guys. I mean, it was a sheer drop all the way back down to the $1.70s, really. All right, we hit off on the, sorry, not the $1.70s, but the 70 cents mark. Okay, here, let's pull up at the monthly. You guys can see what the monthly looks like. Guys, we're at the low of this thing, really, since 2014. Here, take a look at that. Okay, here, I'll take off some of the drawings. Maybe you guys can see it just a little bit better here. So again, we're at the zone of really the low of, where this market has been since 2015, since the dollar stopped quantitative easing. All right, so the Aussie can't get hit literally any harder. I did see some analyst reports from JP Morgan. They mentioned that they wanted to see the Aussie U at the $1.69s, $1.67s. So that was pretty interesting to see also. But for the short term, okay, again, maybe this Trump thing doesn't work out. Maybe this whole trade, hey, we're about to get the trade situation straightened out is a farce, right? And if that's the case, then yeah, we're going to see this thing turn all the way around. But if this idea, the simple idea of that persists and nothing really comes out, folks, you're going to have a slow grind, potentially back up into the $1.73s. On the high end, we may even run to that $1.74. All right, so that's something that I am looking out for, and that we'll be keeping an eye on as well. By the way, that's a 38.2% good old retracement too, if we head to that $1.74. Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm you guys. We have so much stuff coming out this week. I mean, a trader vlog. I'm having a money manager come to the office who mentored me back when I was trading in college and at a certain firm. So you guys are in luck. Okay, so make sure you guys are subscribed and whatnot, and we're going to be releasing out a lot more content. So stay focused on what we're talking about here. Let's see what happens over the next 48 hours, 72 hours, and whatnot, and we'll be able to probably, potentially catch something. All right, potentially catch something. Okay, let's keep an eye out for that Euro JPY as well. We are long and exposed in those positions. So let's see what happens. Okay, guys, your profit always my motive. I'll talk to you guys soon.